The following program is a rebroadcast of Miracle Hunter with Michael O'Neill.
This is Michael O'Neill, and you are listening to the Miracle Hunter Radio Show. And today, of course, we're dedicating our show to Our Lady of Mercy. And we will be here today with Father Ken Breen, who is the Vicar Provincial of the Order of the Blessed Virgin Mary of Mercy. Welcome to the show today, Father Ken.
Well, thank you. I'm very happy to be with you and celebrate this title of Our Lady of Mercy, which is particular for our community, and we celebrate in a particular way, of course, during the month of September, the whole month, and, of course, the highlight is on September 24th. So I'm happy to be here.
Absolutely, and thank you for joining us today. And I think, a lot of people are familiar with the Divine Mercy devotion, and mercy is an important part of their Catholic faith, but they may not know the story of Our Lady of Mercy. I was hoping today, Father, you could tell us a little bit about where this whole devotion comes from, the Our Lady of Ransom or Our Lady of Mercy devotion. How does it all begin?
Well, it certainly begins with our founder, St. Peter Nolasco, in 1218 in Spain, when through the inspiration of the Blessed Mother, Our Lady, he felt that he was asking of her, she was asking of him to establish our order to come to the aid of these captives that were in danger of losing their faith, that were in North Africa and
Can you give
Spain.
us a little bit of background of who were these captives in the historical context? Who was holding the captives, and where were the captives coming from?
Well, what happened is at that time, the Muslims, they could see that Christians could be actually held, and people would come and pay a ransom for them. So even before Peter Nolasco came around, there were many military orders, Mountjoy, Knights of St. James, and these military orders would go to in North Africa, and they would see these Christians that were being held for ransom, and they were in dungeons, and they were suffering greatly. So they were using what they could to set them free. They would use money to pay for their release. And Peter Nolasco, as a merchant, his father was a merchant, and he went on merchant journeys, and he would see their great suffering situation of these Christians being held captives, and because they were available for ransom, he would use his own money, and when that was used up, he was like in dire straits. So by his constant prayer to Our Lady, she inspired him to see as a way to further this work that to establish a religious community, and founded in Spain in 1218 with the help of the king and also St. Raymond of Pennafort encouraging him. And this way the order could go to people and ask for alms, and with these alms collect them, and every year, once a year, make a journey to North Africa and use these alms to free the Christians. And if there wasn't enough, we had this particular, the particular response development for our order is that if we didn't have enough, we would take this fourth vow and actually take their place, awaiting also hopefully a ransom for ourselves as well. And if that didn't arrive, then there would be the problem that we have many early martyrs because that ransom didn't arrive, or even because of pirates. That's another thing that was common at that time. Pirates knew that when they would raid coastal towns in Europe, they could take Christians and bring them to North Africa, and they knew that the Muslims holding them, they would be able to get money for them. So it was really like this terrible situation where there was commercially, like a commercial trade going on because of they knew that they could hold them as hostages. And the key thing is that they knew that they could have them because with that suffering, it presented that sort of pressure to get them to be set free, a ransom. Otherwise, they could easily deny their faith, even though it wasn't that easy, because if they did deny their faith, then the Muslims would lose the money for ransom.
Oh,
okay?
I see.
So, there was like these laws, too, that regulated some of it, but then, of course, laws were only followed by, whatever authority would make sure that they're followed, or sometimes there was, unfairness going on, too. But in any case, the real center for what was taking place here and the concept of mercy and comes from misericordia and ransom, because misericordia is the Latin for the movement of the heart when we see someone who's in great misery or great distress or in a deplorable situation. So it's a little deeper than simply a favor or a gift, as we might see the giving of a gift or a favor in a simple sense of mercy, but it's even like a stronger term to see
Absolutely.
Our Lady of Mercy. And also the word merced is the Spanish word, and this came up over time. In the very beginning, our order was really more given the name of Saint Eulalia, because she was the patroness of Barcelona and more well-known. So our friars in the beginning had the title of the Order of Ransom dedicated to Saint Eulalia, but as time went on and the work went on, and also Peter Nolasco communicated to all of our early friars that it was really because of Our Lady that this work has gone forward, and that even they started to call the habit of St. Mary. So gradually over time, the work was associated with Our Lady, and then the term merced came, which really means this ransom, this deeper form of mercy. So it was really over time linked together and became Our Lady of Mercy or Our Lady of Ransom. Okay.
That's a great history. Thank you for giving us that background. And now, Peter Nolasco, the saint, the founder of the order, from what I understand, there's not a lot known about his life. What can you tell us a little bit of the background of St. Peter's life?
Well, it's true. There wasn't much written about him or much known. I mean, a lot of things about his birth are surmised from maybe his age, possibly maybe he was born in France or around in Barcelona. But what we really focus on is the fact that he was so dedicated to doing everything and giving his all to free the Christians that are in this very terrible situation and in danger of giving up their faith. So he was so moved to do this great work, and he wasn't so concerned about anyone knowing about his history, and we were so busy collecting alms and engaged in this work of redeeming captives that apparently not a lot of things were written down in those early years. We even have trouble getting documents together that show some of our history. We do have one, apparently, that shows, I think, in 1203, and this is a pretty important document that shows that he did some kind of ransom. So, I mean, even in those early years, he was engaged in doing some redeeming work. So I think that's an important fact for our work of the work of mercy that he inspired for us to do.
Absolutely, and that sounds like that was an important document there in the history of your order. Mm-hmm. And in addition to his life not being that well documented, I know there's sort of a legend or story or reality of the inspiration that he received to found the order. And that's traced back to a vision, supposedly of the Blessed Virgin Mary, to inspire him to found the order and to perform the works of mercy. What can you tell us? What is known about that legend or that story, or what is the Mercedarians' take on this today?
Well, many of the stories about that come from some of the early historians, like Nadal Gavar in 1445 and Peter Sihar in 1446, that they talk about tradition of Mary's intervention or inspiration in our founding. And according to them, they're saying that the Blessed Virgin appeared to the three people, Peter Nolasco, St. Peter Nolasco, James I, and Raymond of Pennafort. Now, because we have this development of modern historical criticism, we see things, for example, like James I was probably only about 10 years old. So maybe the idea that he actually saw it, or Raymond of Pennafort, he maybe was a canon and wasn't even a Dominican at that time, something like that. So these historical circumstances put a little bit of doubt on that idea. But what is more sure is that his devotion to Our Lady was strong because of his. I think there's even a plaque there at Montserrat where he went there to pray, and the key thing that was what helped him in moving forward with this great work of mercy, because it's so difficult and the resources are so difficult to come by, is that he was in prayer and before the Blessed Mother and asking for insight and direction. And surely, whether it's something of an actual apparition or simply an inner inspiration or whatever took place, certainly he was moved by the Blessed Mother and encouraged, because so many people would be against the whole idea. For example, why are we going to enrich the Muslims, getting all these funds together and going over there to pay for their release? They're just making the Muslims richer. So, there's many voices that work against, doing this good work. Sure. So he was in great need, and surely Our Lady encouraged and inspired him in some form to establish the order. And we know this particularly by the fact that he's given the habit, to the friars, and it was always entitled the habit of Saint Mary. So this is one of those strong indications and why we're a Marian community, because this strong emphasis on the habit of Saint Mary, and also while there were many churches even titled to Saint Eulalia, the first name that associated with our order, yes. Even more, Saint Peter Nolasco himself personally promoted the naming of many churches, some of our most significant churches, to the title of Mary and Our Lady. So
it was very clear that he had a very strong Marian devotion that inspired him to push forth in this effort. So. Exactly.
That's the heart of the matter, and why we are fundamentally a Marian community. And
that's a wonderful explanation of the Marian roots to your order.
Yeah.
Now, Father, the origins of the Mercedarian order and probably your practices today are very different. You're not looking to ransom captives, as far as I'm aware. How have you taken the spirit of the early days of the founding of the order and brought that into the modern times?
Well, we're still trying to bring this fully into full development. In this past couple of years, we've been going through a stronger discernment to see how we can apply this in a very practical way here in the United States. And our renewed constitutions gives us a basic focus and direction, saying that there are these 4 qualities that we need to address, like where there's a situation of oppression, and that there's a possibility of helping the people to come out of that oppression, and that this actually affects the faith in some way. And these qualities are there to sort of give us a particular direction, but each province has to discern what exactly is the situation that we are facing. And in the very beginning of our vicariate, before it was a vicariate, when Mercedarians came here to the United States, the first application for the Mercedarians was coming to the aid of the faith of those Italian immigrants that were here and were denied access to church, like they couldn't go to the the Irish church, or the German church, or the Slovak church, because they were Italians, So in some ways, the immigrants were experiencing some, oppression that directly affected their faith. So the very beginnings of our Mercedarian apostolate here in the United States was the service at our St. Rocco Church in Cleveland, and also what came from that is Our Lady of Mount Carmel Church, not too far away. So both of these churches were there primarily for that. Now the question remains for us today, how we can apply it. Some elements we feel a strong direction for example, we know that family life today is under attack. So, and the family life is really the beginnings and the nest, or where the faith can really take root and grow. And if this is destabilized and under attack, then also the faith is under attack. So anything that we can do to build up family life, and also we see different areas where, for example, in the situation of a crisis pregnancy, someone is in a situation there where they not only risk giving up the life of their child, but also ruining their faith in God, in a sense. So, coming to aid that situation, and where there's oppression in the family, where there's domestic violence that can destroy the family and also destroy the faith. And we also see that the most degrading situation of all, it seems, would be the situation with human trafficking. But all these areas that are there, it's like, how can we address them in a way that will be an aid? We're certainly can certainly be part of what needs to be done to help our world and our society. But just as even in the time of Peter Nolasco and our first Mercedarians did what we could to redeem the slaves that we could find, it also was being done by many other communities and needed to be, because we couldn't do it all.
Sure.
God is calling us all to work together to help one another to live in freedom, and freedom for family. But then whatever we can do, we will try to do, and we ask everyone's prayers that we can continue to move forward, and especially the intercession of Our Lady of Mercy, because there's many obstacles to accomplishing any good work. So,
absolutely. And Father, how long have you been a part of the Mercedarian Order?
I was ordained in 1985. And I took my solemn vows were a year before, in 84. So, it's coming up on 30 years now. So,
well, congratulations. And what drew you initially to the charism of the Mercedarian Order? What was attractive to you?
Basically, it's that the simple sentence that we hear in the Gospel of John. Jesus says, "No greater love does one have than to lay down his or her life for his or friends, for one's friends." And at that moment in my life, it was a moment of decision. I was in my second year of college, and it was a time to wonder. I was in a high school seminary, and it was a diocesan seminary, and I simply had this understanding that I couldn't see myself living the life of the priesthood alone. I just didn't see that. That was a difficult thing. So I left, and I was studying actually engineering, and also wondering about what's my vocation life? Is this what it's meant to be? Even though I liked science and math and was pursuing this, it was becoming difficult, and it was the question there: would this be my life vocation? So. Having that question and growing in my prayer, growing in my personal conversion, a deepening of my faith, and I was going to daily mass at that time, and then I saw this poster of our community in the back of the church that had this sentence on it, and the heart of it is love, because first of all, only God knows. What really is the best vocation for us. And we should have confidence that God will show us and lead us in that, because, He is the one who made us. So, having that confidence in Him to show us and lead us, the question boiled down to, in my life, is whether my vocation to love would be in marriage or something else.
Right.
And since I saw this, it just seemed to move me to think about this, and ask for information. And I didn't think anything of it at the time when I sent in. Also, there was something of, at that time, was the Apollo mission was going on, and they did have that image, of someone dreaming of this mission, and it sort of just attracted me, that idea. So that's when I just simply sent in for the information, and I didn't think of it for a couple months. And then another event happened where at Saturday evening Mass, I was hearing the Father speak about the gospel, and Peter was fishing all night and didn't catch anything. And I sort of felt like that, too, at that moment, like just doing this study and wondering whether this really would be my life. I couldn't see myself doing this life by myself or going forward in it without the help of God, because I was meeting some difficulties which were shocking to me. So this was on my mind as I was hearing this, and so the gospel passage was, throw the net on the other side of the boat. So, and then it struck me that I didn't hear anything about it, and then I thought, well, maybe that's because there's something at home, and when I went home, there was, and so that to me was like the first step, the sign that God is inviting and calling me to our community, and then following up with that, coming to recognize most of the community is in my own hometown, and many of the community members are from Cleveland, and so I don't know. But also, it was a Marian order, and my mother is deeply devoted to Our Lady and praying the Rosary, and I also joined her in that. And also, Our Lady of Fatima is calling us all to pray for our own conversion, the conversion of all the world through and the devotion to the Rosary. So that just seemed to be something that fits with this. Our community and our devotion, it's one of the elements that we pray, called to pray the Rosary daily, and we do pretty well, praying it daily, and also, of course, the Liturgy of the Hours. So, being faithful to that, now we just continue our prayers to move forward to reach out to those who are in very difficult situations. And one of the things about try to understand about Our Lady of Mercy is that doing this redemption of captives, and that's what the title really means, this merced. In fact, when we see La Merced in Spanish, sometimes we translate as simply the order, because you really can't translate it as the mercy.
Right.
It's like the order, because the order was doing this work of mercy, but it's not just simply one work of mercy, like feeding the hungry or giving drink to the thirsty. But by actually doing this redemption, we are doing all the works of mercy in this one act, because when they're in these dungeons and in this deplorable situation, they are hungering, they are thirsting, they are in such great suffering and such great need that it moves our heart to respond and to do something to help them in this very difficult situation. So that same sense we need to extend to exercise in some way in our work together here in the United States. So we ask everyone's prayers that we can fulfill this good work of mercy and fulfill the call Christ is giving to us and to all to help people who are suffering oppression, and especially those who are losing their faith, or just kind of losing the way because of their great need.
Absolutely. That's a great need, as you point out, and that's a great work that your order does. And, Father, you mentioned your order is based out of Cleveland. Is that correct?
Well, our principal houses, our first houses are there. Right now we're sort of in transition. We are, in order to move forward with our redemptive work, where we feel and discern that it's more prudent to sell this property we have in Leroy, New York, though we will continue to be at our local parish here. It's called Our Lady of Mercy, and we'll continue that work. But by selling the property, then it's possible that our administrative offices or work could be moved in the future, but still presently right now it's in Leroy, New York.
And I'm assuming that the order is still alive and well in Spain?
It is. We have two provinces there. One is called the province of Aragon, which is the first province where Barcelona is. And their focus, they see the need to focus on coming to the aid of Christians and ministry to those who are incarcerated. So the jail ministry is very pronounced there. And whereas in the province of Castile, they see the need to reach out to those who are coming from other countries who are immigrants, refugees. So trying to aid the refugees so that they can either get back to their own country or get integrated somehow so that they don't, just lose hope, principally. And each province sees some vision, some way to exercise this and respond to the call to those who are suffering and in danger of losing the faith.
So each province may have a different approach to how they put that into action.
That's true, yes. Like I think in Chile, they concentrate more and more on the youth, and Argentina, I believe, is seeing the strong need also to develop and reach out to the situation of human trafficking. And Italy, the Roman province, they have seen for many years also to reach out in the jail and prison ministry, and they have this like a halfway house type situation helping. But it also seems to be helping people who are in a refugee status as well. So that's the principal work that's going on there in our Roman province. And in India, I was there for 13 years and helping with the formation until we got some ordained. And the area that is the heart of the work is to we have a house now, and the diocese actually started the program called, the name of the house is called Jivadara, something like, has to do with life and light, something like that. And their children, a lot of times you can find children at the train stations or begging and stuff like this, and they're very vulnerable, of course, and the idea of, it could be easily, terrible things, you won't even imagine that could happen to these children. So the idea is to try to help these children come to a center and get them out of that situation we call street children, okay? Yes. So the diocese initiated the program, and then as our fathers were ordained, the diocese was asking and hoping that a religious community would take it up. So our fathers have taken it up, and now we're proceeding to build a separate place that would be on our own property so we can continue this good work as something that we are fully dedicated to in India.
That's wonderful. Now, Father, if somebody were discerning a vocation and listened to you today, and they thought that they might be called to be working in with the Fathers or the Order of the Blessed Virgin Mary of Mercy, what would they do to get in touch with someone to explore that vocation? Well,
the easiest way is to contact our vocation director. It's at vocations@orderofmercy.org. Or just simply look at our website there, Order of Mercy. If you just put in Order of Mercy in any search, you'll find usually comes up right away. And the actual, address is like where you put Order of Mercy without any space, orderofmercy.org. Even that would come up right away. And Great. It's really it's a very nice website because we had it reworked and got lots of nice pictures and even recently, just this past previous couple weeks, myself and also our vocation director, Father Joe Eddy, we've been together participating in these life teen camps because this is also an aspect, that our young people today in our society and culture are so immersed in secularism and all of its dangers that we feel a strong need to be with them in these programs that help them to encounter Christ and strengthen their faith. So we're very delighted to be part of that, and encourage all young people to be involved in youth groups and any programs that help them to grow strong in their faith, because in that really they'll find their real joy rather than the things of the world that are passing and just lead us down paths that and can be very dangerous too, in fact. So,
well, thank you very much, Father. Your order does excellent work, and I was excited to hear the history about it today. So thanks so much for being with us and for sharing all of that. So God bless you.
Thank you very much, and I was happy to be there and continue to keep us in your prayers. Okay?
We will. God bless.
Thank you.